My warm regards and good morning to everyone present. And thank you once again to manage for organizing this session and giving us the opportunity to interact with different stakeholders over the period of time. So, as Shailendraji told, that I'm a chartered accountant. I'm working with AIF, with Ministry of Agriculture, NABCONS, who are the central PMU to the fund, to the ministry as financial expert. And Agriculture Infrastructure Fund as a policy per se is a very revolutionary scheme, which was launched in 2020 when the world was going through pandemic. So, as a part of the Atmanirbhar package, this scheme was launched with the basic motive of boosting the agriculture infrastructure in the country and also to manage the post harvest losses which are increasing, and when we compare it with the production capacities of India, the post harvest management is actually getting a challenge, because if we could reapin and we could plug in that particular area, we can really give a massive boost to the agriculture economy and the share of agriculture sector in the GDP of the country as well. So, without wasting much time, I'll just show you the presentation about AIF, why the scheme was launched, what are the basic benefits which are available in the scheme, what all are the eligible activities and eligible beneficiaries. Then also take you some of the examples of the eligible activities which can be undertaken under the scheme, and then I'll try and take it to the portal as well, which is completely online portal, wherein the application process is also very simple, and how we monitor the applications, that is absolutely online. So I'll take you through the presentation as well as the portal. So I'll just share my presentation for you so that I can do that. So why AIF was launched? So as I mentioned, that India is doing great in when it comes to the production, and we are, sufficiently doing enough to be called as self-sufficient. We are like number two in terms of self-sufficiency, and we'll be achieving self-sufficiency very soon as well. But when it comes to managing that post-harvest, we are really lagging behind. When other countries are doing great work in managing those post-harvest, we are still talking about the basic infrastructures in the country and the lack of adequate infrastructure in the country. And the in post-harvest losses is staggering high in India. When it comes to the crops, it is as good as 20-25% in many crops, which is like huge. And if we talk about the quantum of the post-harvest losses as well, it is enough for many countries to sustain for a year or something. So we can understand why it is so critical for us to manage those post harvest losses and turn it around and become productive. So, as one, to add a boost to the agriculture sector and its contribution in the country's economy, and secondly, also to give added income to the farmers. We talk a lot about doubling the farmers' income, tripling the farmers' income, but how to do it? This is one of the area where the gap is always there. So if we could plug in and we could turn it around into a productive stuff, this can really give a boost to the farmers' income as well. So when it was discussed why the post-harvest losses are staggering high in India, one of the basic reason was lack of adequate infrastructure at the farm gate level. So the time lag which a farmers take to take its produce to the next available or the nearest available storage houses or the primary processing centers, and it is very high. So if we could have a good adequate infrastructure at its farm gate level, then the time lag could be reduced, so that the adequate care which the crop need post its harvest can be provided at the right time. So the intention of the scheme is to boost the infrastructure at the farm gate level at the reach of the farmers. Then alongside it, it was also discussed that uh, India, even after 70-75 years of independence, is still dependent on the traditional farming methods. And whereas countries like China and many others are really doing great in terms of adopting the new technologies, bringing the artificial intelligence in the agriculture sector, this scheme also provides you a route wherein which can give a boost of the new people, the entrepreneurs and everyone else to take up smart and precision agriculture and bring new technologies in the agriculture as well. So one of the challenge we are also facing is to boost and to give a boost to the agriculture sector by motivating the young people to take agriculture going forward as their business or as their career. And one of the reason why youth is kind of divulging itself from the agriculture is because of the risk element involved in it. So how the de-risking can be done? So smart and precision agriculture, use of artificial intelligence, use of technologies in the agriculture can be one of the strong point wherein the de-risking of agriculture can also be done. Now drones are in, right. Government is promoting drones, and these companies are coming with a lot of new features in their drones, wherein the soil testing they are doing, when they are predicting the climate as well. I mean, they're trying out a whole lot of new things. So de-risking of agriculture and motivating the next generation to adopt agriculture is also one of the very critical area where government is focusing on. So this scheme provides you the funding solutions for that as well. And also, it has been talked about a lot that uh, we have a lot of dependence on the intermediaries. So this scheme also provides you funding for any kind of a project wherein the farmers can interact directly with the customers. So that is also an allowed activity under the AIF, so that the dependence of intermediaries can be reduced for the farmers. And it was also felt that there was no proper long term institutional funding available for the entrepreneurs or the farmers in the agriculture sector. There are some small or short term funding options like Kisan credit cards and other, but there was no long term institutional funding. So AIF was launched, which was envisaged with the viewpoint to bridge out all of these gaps, which I just repeat, is to manage the high post and harvest losses, to bridge the infrastructure gap in the countries, reduce dependence on the intermediaries, and uh, provide a long-term institutional funding solution to the farmers and the entrepreneurs. So, with this whole mindset and whole thought process behind the scheme was officially launched on 15th of May 2020 by our Honorable Finance Minister with a total investment outlay of 1 lakh crore of rupees. And on 8th of July 2020, the scheme was officially approved by our cabinet. And 8th of July 2020 is a landmark date for the scheme, which is the cutoff date for the scheme as well. So any project for which the first disbursement of the loan has been done post of 8 July 2020 can still be brought under the ambit of the AIF, and the beneficiaries are allowed to take the benefit of the subvention from the back date, from the 8th of July 2020 onwards. So this is a landmark date for our scheme. On 9th of August 2020, the formal inauguration of the scheme was done by our Honorable Prime Minister. And the scheme is a very vibrant scheme. We try and interact with the beneficiaries, with the stakeholders time and again. And we, as a CPMU also, we through this webinar, through the our meetings and everyone, we take their feedbacks and we compile them, and we also suggest cabinets and the ministry to take a note of those changes which are coming out from the field, so that the scheme does not become stagnant, and which is again one of the problems with many of the schemes of the country, that they are not user friendly at times. They are the thought process behind developing that scheme and the actual implementation of the scheme. There are a lot of things which get different. So our scheme is a very vibrant scheme for that matter. So two major changes were done. At two times the major changes were done. One was in 8th of July 2021, and another was May 2022. And another set of changes have also been recommended to the cabinet, and hopefully we'll see some more changes coming up in the scheme in the coming months. So the scheme is all set. The government is very much focused on the successful implementation of the scheme, because the scheme is really providing its a way out for giving a boost to the agriculture sector. So what are the support which are available under the AIF? So as I mentioned, that it gives you a interest subvention of 3%. And at this time of the launch of this scheme, an MOU was executed with all the leading bankers of the country, wherein the maximum rate of interest which the bank can charge from the beneficiary under the AIF has been capped to 9%. So this is the only scheme in the country which gives you a capping of the maximum rate of interest which a bank funding institution can charge. So that is at 9% as of now, and a subvention of 3% is provided on that. So if a loan has been sanctioned at 9%, after the 3% interest subvention, the effective rate of interest is just 6% for the beneficiary. Whereas in case of PACs, because NABARD is also running one parallel scheme, which is PACs as MSCs, wherein they're providing a scheme, they're providing funding solution to the PACs at 4%. So 4% from NABARD and 3% interest subvention from AIF. The effective rate of interest for PACs is just 1%. So look at the benefit it can accrue for the agri entrepreneurs, farmers, PACs, and everyone else, because that 3% interest subvention directly adds to the working capital. And one of the reason again, which was envisaged, was a lot of entrepreneurs and startups faces lack of working capital or managing that working capital. So that 3% interest subvention as a backend subsidy is provided to the beneficiary and really can give a boost to their projects in terms of sustainability of their projects as well. Second thing, another thing which was noted was many a time startups and people don't have enough security available to give a collateral to the funding institutions. So that gap has been taken by the ministry. So an agreement has been done with CGTMSE for a loan up to 2 crores. So CGTMSE again, it's a parallel government organization which gives kind of an insurance to the lending institution, and in case the loan gets bad debt, there is whole lot of calculations available, and CGTMSE make good that losses as well. And for their services, they charge a fee. The CGTMSE fee upfront is charged from the beneficiary, but as a backend subsidy again is reimbursed by the ministry for to the beneficiary. So that part is also taken care of under this scheme, that is the CGTMSE through CGTMSE. Uh, Third and important benefit and the feature of the scheme is that it's a top-up scheme. So it is allowed to merge or to can be converged with all the existing center and state schemes. There is no bar, no restrictions. If there is any particular scheme of a state for the eligible activities, and if any benefit kind of a any kind of a benefit, let's say capital subsidy or interest subvention is provided from that scheme, that beneficiary can take benefit of that scheme as well and our benefit as well. For instance, UP is running a kind of a parallel interest subvention scheme of 4%. So a beneficiary in UP can take a interest subvention from UP of 4% and 3% from us as well. So 4 plus 3 goes to 7%. So its effective rate of interest is just 2% for that matter. There are many other capital subsidy schemes also going on in the country, which I'll take care of in the next coming slide as well. So the scheme can be converged with any of these schemes. Again, the purpose is to motivate people, young people, to come into the agriculture sector with a sustainable business models. So imagine a business model wherein a beneficiary is taking a capital subsidy from one government scheme, interest subvention scheme as well. The capital part is also taken care of, and the interest part is also taken care of, which means it can add to the sustainability of the project in a big way. So that is again one of the important feature of this scheme, that it is a top-up scheme and can be converged with any of the scheme of the country. So what are the limits of the scheme? The maximum benefit which is available under the scheme is 2 crore per beneficiary per location. So and a beneficiary can go up to 25 such locations, different locations in the country. So in total, he can take a loan up to 50 crore under AIF. Again, 2 crore per beneficiary per village, if we talk about. So he can go up to 25 different villages and can set up the same project or different projects and can avail loan up to 2 crores under AIF. So interest subvention will be provided to him till 50 crores. But CGTMSE support, it's an individual based benefit. It is up to available up to 2 crores only. But interest subvention will be allowed up to 50 crores. So loan repayment period under the AIF is 7 years, including a moratorium period of 2 years. Having said so, it does not restrict any beneficiary or the lending institution to keep their loan repayment period up to 7 years only. So you can have a loan period of 15 years, 20 years, whatsoever, but the benefit under this scheme will be provided to you till 7 years. So the interest subvention or the CGTMSE support, whatever is it, is available only up to 7 years. But the funding institutions and the beneficiaries can have their own terms and conditions when they are bidding for the loan and something. One of the feature again, Jason missed the condition of the under the AIF is that we talk about minimum 10% of the promoters contribution in the project. So 10% promoters contribution is required under the scheme, and rest is available for the funding under the AIF. What are the eligible activities under the AIF? So as I mentioned earlier, so major thrust is on the post-harvest management. So projects like storage and infrastructure, assaying units like warehouses, silos, cold storages, etc., pack houses, ripening chambers, primary processing centers, cleaning, drying, sorting, grading, supply chain with the e-marketing facility, solar panels on eligible infrastructure. So government is also giving boost to use of solar energies. So if there is an eligible infrastructure in place and a beneficiary wish to install solar panels on that infrastructure, it is an allowed activity. So it does not restrict that the project has to be a new one. An extension of the already existing eligible infrastructure is also allowed. So let's say a warehouse is already in place and a beneficiary wants to extend that warehouse or increase the capacity of that warehouse. It is an allowed activity under the AIF. The funding can be provided for that as well. Second is the community farming assets. So here we have divided the activities into two parts. Again, the kind of grouping is those activities which caters community, at one go, like building community farming assets. So six odd activities, five odd activities has been clubbed only for the groups because they are production related. So our scheme is not a production related scheme. It does not provide you funding for the production related activities, but post harvesting of that product. But five activities on the demand from the field, from the people around, that it should provide funding for the production related activity as well. So it has been taken care of, but only for the groups like PACs, FPOs, kind of a company. I mean, the societies, cooperatives, and all that. So the hydroponic farming, mushroom farming, vertical farming, aerophonic farming, polyhouses, and greenhouses. So these five odd activities has been, because these are production related activities, have been included in the scheme, but only available for the groups, FPOs, PACs, cooperatives, and all. Whereas the other activities which are eligible for all beneficiaries includes smart and precision agriculture, input production, supply chain infrastructure, biostimulant production, farm and harvest automation, purchase of drones, sensors on field, blockchain and artificial intelligence in agriculture, remote sensing and Internet of Things, farm advisory services through GIS applications. So these all activities are eligible for all beneficiaries. And having said so, these are just indicative list of activities. Our portal also give you a detailed list of eligible activities and not eligible activities. And other than that, also, if and there is any activity which is for the post harvest or for the primary processing or something like that, which are for the overall thrust of the scheme, can be taken care of under the AIF. But again, it has to be for the post harvest and not related to dairy and animal husbandry, because for that there is different schemes which are going on. One is animal husbandry infrastructure development scheme and the fisheries infrastructure development scheme. So these were the schemes which were announced alongside the agriculture infrastructure. So animal husbandry related projects and fisheries related, dairy related projects are completely different, and they are taken care of by the other scheme. So who all are the eligible beneficiaries under this scheme? So without going into detail, all beneficiaries of all type, individuals, sole proprietorship, partnership firms, companies, SHGs, everyone is allowed beneficiary under this scheme, except center and state government who cannot participate directly into the scheme. They can also come in through PPP model, but they cannot come directly. Barring those, everyone else is an eligible beneficiary. So the convergence point. So as I mentioned earlier, the one of the beautiful feature of this scheme is that it's a top-up scheme. So it can be converged with any of the scheme of center and state. Some of the schemes which I've just mentioned here, one is sub schemes under mission for integrated development of horticulture, whereas 35 to 50% capital subsidy is provided for infrastructures like cube cooling units, pack houses, etc. PM formalization of micro food processing enterprises scheme, wherein capital subsidy of 35% along with additional support to FPOs and SHGs for working capital is provided. Submission of agriculture mechanization SMAM scheme, wherein community farming assets with up to 40% of the procurement subsidy for establishment of custom hiring service centers is allowed, wherein drones are getting funded under the scheme of SMAM only. Gobardhan, whereas financial assistance for biogas plants and CBG plants for establishment for individual, community cluster, and commercial CBG models is provided. SCUP schemes under the PM Kisan Sampada, wherein 35% capital subsidies provided for infrastructures. Agriculture Marketing Infrastructure Scheme, AMI scheme of NABARD, which is again very famous, wherein subsidy up to 25% of the project cost for males and 33.33% of project cost for FPOs are provided. PM Kusum, where setting up of standalone solar pumping system and solarization of grid connected agriculture pump is provided. So these are some of the schemes which I've just mentioned. There can be any other schemes in the state and center which can be converged with our scheme. Now, just to give you an example how the convergence work. So we have taken an example of drone, and as of now, we've taken an estimated cost of drone as rupees 10 lakh. So a 40% upfront procurement subsidy is available under SMAM. So which means 4 lakh rupees. An owner contribution has to be 10%, which means 1 lakh rupees. And for remaining 5 lakh, a loan can be taken from the AIF with an ROE cap of 9%, interest intervention of 3%, and CGTMAC coverage. So you can understand, just by investing 1 lakh rupee, a person can enter into a business of community farming assets with drones. And drones are a next big thing which is going to happen in the country and in the agriculture sector as well. More than 10 odd companies have been already been given permission by DRDO and other agencies to have their drones used up in the agriculture sector. So just by investing 1 lakh, one can enter into a business which is a very flourishing business in the years to come and can really give a boost in using the smart and precision agriculture and new technologies in the agriculture. So just to give you an example how the convergence work. So what is the process flow of the application? So there are two set of categories which we have divided. One are the packs because they are approved by the NABARD, and other are the non-packs agencies. So for the non-packs agencies, it is very simple. Beneficiary has to go to our portal, which is agriinfra.dac.gov.in, using the Aadhaar number and the mobile number. There is a very simple registration process. Then the beneficiary uploads the basic details and the DPR and all on our portal itself. Post it's uploading on our portal, it comes to us, the CPMU, wherein we verify three major things. When we check any application, one is the 10% promoter contribution. Second is the eligible activity. Third is the positive and the good cash flows of the project. Don't go into detail for the project. It just have to be a profitable business model through a DPR. And then that's it. So we approve the application, and post our approval, it goes to the funding institution which the beneficiary have selected nearby its area. Then the funding institution has to dispose of the application within 60 days. So at CPMU, we have an internal deadline of 2 days. So wherein we process the application maximum within 2 days of receiving it on our portal. And post our approval, the banks have to dispose of that application in 60 days. So you can see that the process has been defined in a time bounded manner with an answerability of both CBMU and the funding institutions. And Ministry also monitors the progress of the scheme on a very constant basis. For the PAX entity, once the application has been submitted, it comes to us. Post our approval, it goes to the district cooperative banks, then it goes to state cooperative banks, and then it goes to NABARD, which is the final sanctioning authority for PAX, because of the PAX as MSC scheme. Post the sanction from NABARD, it goes to the DCCB for the disbursement. What has been the progress under the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund as of now? So as we sit today, more than 49,500 applications are already there on our portal, of which almost 22,800 projects have been sanctioned, with a total project outlay of 33,750 crores. So this much of the amount has already been infused into the agriculture sector through this scheme. And since we have a capping of 2 crore in this scheme, so the amount which is sanctioned under the AIF is close to 16,400 crores, and of which 10,700 crore plus rupees have already been disbursed to the beneficiary. And this scheme has really shown a good progress in the last year. Post the COVID restrictions were over and all, we were also trying to enhance the reach of the scheme to the beneficiaries. And of late, we have received some very nice response from the market, from the country overall. And I request to this platform, in every platform wherein we interact, to motivate the beneficiaries to come forward and take the benefits. And in having said so, there is no time limit again. The scheme is open 24 by 7 as of now. So applicants can go and apply for the funding anytime. There is a cap on the higher limit of 2 crore, but there is no minimum limit to it. So minor projects, small projects, SME projects, all are projects which are eligible. So it gives a boost to the small and marginalized farmers as well to come up and try different new things into their, add new things to their farming. And every kind of SME projects is also is allowed, barring it should be for the eligible activity. So what has been the state-wise beneficiary and type-wise sanction amount under AIF? So talking about the state-wise share, MP, Madhya Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh are leading with 27% share and 15%, followed by Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Telangana, Gujarat, Karnataka, and other states. And when you talk about beneficiary type-wise share, agri entrepreneurs are taking the benefit with almost 61% share, packs with 24%, farmers 2%, startups 2%, and FPOs 1%. So here, of course, it's a good statistics to look at, but at internally at the ministry, we want FPOs share and the farmer share to increase. So because the scheme is actually for the farmers and for the FPOs, I mean, they are the main beneficiaries of the scheme. The share of 11% and 1% of the FPOs is somewhere we are also concerned, and we are trying our level best to increase that share as well. But yes, agri entrepreneurs are taking up the huge benefit of this scheme with 61% share. So this was a project typhoid sanction. Post harvest project has a major share, and in terms of infrastructure, it is warehouses wherein a lot of funding has been given, followed by primary processing centers, cold storages, etc. What are the crop-wise potential infrastructure under the AIF? Just to give you some examples. So let's say for spices, cleaning and sorting, grading, drying, grinding, sieving, packaging, all are eligible activities. And cash crops like cashews, cleaning, steaming in boilers, shell cutting, drying, peeling and grading, packaging, all are eligible activities. In coconut, dehusking, deshelling, cutting, extraction of milk and water, virgin coconut oil, packaging, all are eligible activities. For tea and coffee, cleaning and washing, withering, rolling and fermentation, drying and sorting, pulping, oxidation, packaging, including tea bags, all are eligible activities. For fruits, cleaning, sorting and grading, pack houses, ripening chambers, irradiation, all are eligible activities. Cold storages, packaging, transportation. For cereals like rice, etc., dehusking, milling and polishing, sorting and grading, warehouses, silos, packaging, transportation, all are eligible activities. Having said so, so this is what AIF is all about. And before I take you to the portal, I just again um, repeat what the scheme was all about, what we all have discussed. So, the scheme was launched as a part of Atmanirbhar package with the main objective of managing the post-harvest losses in the country and to give a boost to the agriculture infrastructure in the country, and also to motivate youth to take agriculture by adopting new smart and precision agriculture and bring new technologies in the country, in the agriculture sector. So the major benefits it provides is one, the long-term funding option with an ROI cap of 9% as of now, and an interest subvention of 3% on that. Secondly, a CGTMSE support in terms of collateral securities. The scheme is a top-up scheme and can be converged with all the schemes of the country. Then the limit is 2 crore per beneficiary per village, and beneficiary can take loan up to 25 such projects in different villages. The scheme is a monetary limit. Just to explain, uh, 2 crore is not that one project of 2 crore. It can have multiple projects up to the monetary limit of 2 crores in a one village. CGTMSE support, even though is applicable only for 2 crores. Then the maximum loan period is 7 years under the AIF. The eligible activities includes again post-harvest management projects, primary processing, and community farming assets as well. And the entire the scheme is a portal-driven scheme. So next 5-7 minutes, I'll take you through the portal, how the portal works, and how the portal looks like. So I'll share. Okay, on Google, you just have to type agriculture. infrastructure fund. So the first option would be agriinfra.ch.gov.in. So this is how our portal looks like. So on it has all the information about the scheme, the objectives, main features. FAQ section is also there. Wherein we'll keep on updating the regular queries which we receive from the field, so that everyone can go through and understand more better about the scheme. Who can apply? As I mentioned, every beneficiary, any type is allowed except central and state government. The eligible projects. These have been divided into two categories: eligible projects for all beneficiaries. We just now discussed about it. Just below, we have given crop-wise details of eligible activities as well as non-eligible activities, so that there is no confusion in the mind of the beneficiaries. And we have included more than 12 odd categories of such crops, and we keep on updating as well. And the eligible projects for building community farming assets is also given on the portal. The next part I want to take you through is the beneficiary part. So one is the registration. Very simple procedure: name, mobile number, and Aadhaar card. And an OTP you will be receiving on your number, and that's it. You have to just validate your number, and you'll be registered. So when we talk about groups, let's say PAX, cooperative, or any company or someone, so the principal contact of that organization needs to get itself registered here. But while applying for the project, it will go on the name of the cooperative only. So the principal contact will be registered as the beneficiary. Then the DPR template. So again, we are promoting a seamless and a user-friendly application process. So we have devised a 7-pager simple DPR template for the benefit of all. So it is not very complex. Can be done with the basic knowledge of finance. If anyone has, it can be filled up and can be submitted. So our 7-pager DPR template has also been provided, and model DPRs as well. So herein we have devised more than 28, more than 24 model DPRs in Excel format as well as PDF format, which can be used by the beneficiaries. I'll just give you one. Let's say banana chambering, banana ripening chamber. So you can see it's in Excel format, editable format. So anyone with basic knowledge of finance can do that, can take the benefit of the model, and can design its own DPR or the financial estimates using our model DPRs. Then there is a registration process video in English and Hindi as well, which is available. I just run. It's a short 8-minute video. Thank you. This was a short video which in detail talks about the entire process of the AIF. And with this, I'm done with my presentation. And if there is any kind of queries, I'll be more than happy to receive an answer.